If you lived in Nashville, Tennessee for the first 5 months of the year 2020, you've been had. Big time. In 20 seconds, I'll tell you how and why. Hi there, I'm Philip Kirk, your third grandfather in Nashville. A few weeks ago, I made a video titled An Urgent Letter to our Tennessee Governor Bill Lee in order to try to head off his horrible plan of contact tracing, which he was proposing as a result of our supposed C-19 health crisis. As I have said several times before, my doctorate degree is not in medicine, molecular biology, nor pharmacology. Yet there is ample evidence currently available to the general public, if one is willing to look for it, that we, the citizens of Davidson County, Tennessee, otherwise known as Nashville, have been had. And we've been had big time. One of the few benefits of being older is that you recognize recurring patterns. But one of the things that age does not help with is the pain that comes with being fooled. It is a humiliating experience. And when I say fooled, I'm being very serious in that our being fooled is going to lead to thousands of deaths in our great city. What our mayor has done is he has locked us down in our homes, shuttered our businesses, driven away all our city's great tourism, which was booming, prevented us from eating at restaurants, prevented us from going to the movies, prevented us from socializing and getting haircuts, prevented us from going to church, prevented us from going shopping, shut down funerals of persons who have died from any cause, and prevented our children from going to school. In addition, he ruined Easter, Mother's Day, proms for our high school seniors, along with the graduation ceremony itself. Why did he do this? I submit that he jumped on a bandwagon which is being driven by outside interests that intend to profit from this phony crisis. And I'm going to show you why. Keep in mind that many of the statistics that have been bandied about in this matter are hugely flawed, and they can never be made to be reasonably accurate because, as I have said before, the evidence has been either sadly cremated or buried underground. Any citizens that have been paying attention know that certain governments and government-related entities have rigged the statistics by inflating the number of deaths by classifying some as with C-19 instead of the accurate category of from C-19. There are, however, some statistics which do prove accurately that we have been fooled. But before I get to that, I want you to know that I fully understand, and I really do, understand that hindsight is 20/20, and I am not trying to be a Monday morning quarterback. However, after 2 or 3 weeks, a person in a position powerful enough to use the force of arrest and incarceration to shut down lifestyles and economies needs to make 100% certain that the cure is not worse than the disease. Now, in talking about this, you got to bear in mind that there are 4 types of persons involved when we are discussing the C-19 virus. 1, those who never get infected. 2, those who get infected but show no symptoms. 3, those who get infected and show symptoms, some mild, some severe, and of course last, 4, the sad category of those who get infected and die. I'm going to show you a table here which is made using statistics provided by the Metropolitan Davidson County Health Department showing all the persons who have died in Davidson County as a result of C-19, their age, gender, and whether or not they had any underlying conditions. And keep in mind, this is our mayor's health department, the mayor that shut us down. Now, this chart here I know has a lot of data on it, and I'm going to put it on the screen, and you'll probably have to zoom in on it, you know, to be able to read any of the real statistics on there. You'll see that there were a total of 58 deaths through May 28, 2020. And this is perhaps the most eye-opening table of all. This table shows no deaths whatsoever of anyone 40 years old or under, and only 3 in their 40s, 6 in their 50s, 13 in their 60s, 22 in their 70s, 14 in their 80s and above. So, the takeaway on this table is if you are 30 years old, according to these statistics, these are the mayor's statistics, you have 0 chance of dying from this illness. And yet, everyone aged 40 and under have had their lives wrecked by this shutdown. This is unconscionable. Additionally, everyone on that chart there had an underlying health condition except for 16, which were marked as unknown. The Department of Health was unable to determine that anyone in this list for certain did not have an underlying health condition. Please notice that the entire number of deaths in Davidson County, Tennessee through May 28, 2020 is only 58. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, when I say only 58, I am not minimizing any death. Each death is a tragedy for both the deceased and the deceased family and friends. But we have to put these numbers into context. Davidson County has a population of approximately 659,000. When you figure the percentage of deaths to this number of people, you'll get the number of 0.000088. Let me show you what that number looks like on paper. I'm not going to put this on the screen, I just want to show it to you. That's what the number carried out to 6 decimals looks like. That is an astonishingly small percentage. This amazingly small percentage points to the fact that at no time did the death numbers for Davidson County ever justify such heavy-handed and extreme lockdown measures. Keep in mind, last year in 2019, there were 107 motor vehicle fatalities in just Nashville, a number which almost double the current C-19 numbers, but no lockdown required for those deaths. So, what this tells us is that conversely, you have a 99.99912% chance of never dying from this illness. But there is an even bigger fact to be observed here. Note that the youngest person in Davidson County, according to the Metropolitan Davidson County Health Department, to have died from C-19 is 41, and he had underlying health conditions. Now, let me stop here and let's talk about this term we keep hearing, underlying health conditions. You've heard that term now ad nauseum. In a previous video, I theorized that it is not the underlying health condition necessarily that is killing these people that get C-19, but rather it is the medication they are taking for their underlying condition that wrecks their immune system, making them a target for an opportunistic infection to come down the pipe and strike them down because their bodies are simply unable to fight off the infection. I urge you to watch that video and my suggestion to Governor Lee toward the end as to how to handle this in the future. I'm going to show you a chart here. This will be a whole lot easier to read here. In the entire state of Tennessee through May 28, 2020, there have been 356 deaths from C-19. The state of Tennessee has a population of 6.8 million, which brings the rate of deaths to 0.000053. Let me show you what that number looks like in print. It's an extremely small number carried out to 6 decimal points. Also, in the state of Texas, through May 28, 2020, there have been only 1,601 deaths from C-19. The state of Texas has a population of over 29 million. Now, I know that number, 1,601 deaths, seems like a large number, but you got to keep in mind, Texas has a population of over 29 million, which brings their rate of deaths to 0.000053. Now, where did you just see that number? So note that the death rate in both Tennessee and Texas is exactly the same, which gives a great amount of credibility to these particular statistics being accurate. And bear in mind, again, this is a number carried out to 6 decimal points. And finally, the state of South Dakota through May 28, 2020 had 57 deaths with a population of 858,000, bringing their rate to 0.000066. Again, a very close statistical correlation. Not absolutely close, but fairly close. As you can see, these statistics appear credible because they are so closely aligned. And bear in mind that the governor of South Dakota, Kristi Noem, did not shut down the entire state, and yet their death rate is very close to both Tennessee and Texas. So what has transpired here? Our lives here in Nashville and all across the United States, except for South Dakota and a few other states which have been spared the scourge of this hoax, have been devastated, resulting in many deaths. And there will be many deaths yet to come in the future. And why do I say that? We have emergency room physicians that are telling us publicly that they are seeing a year's worth of suicides and suicide attempts in 4-week spans. 12 months of suicide and suicide attempts in 4 weeks. There is credible research also that's documented in a 2005 book titled Economic Issues Today, Alternative Approaches, which cites a study that for every 1% increase in the unemployment rate, there's an associated 37,000 deaths. Let me say that again, 37,000 deaths. And that number includes 20,000 heart attacks, 920 suicides, 650 homicides, 4,000 state mental hospital admissions, and 3,300 state prison admissions. I'm going to show you another chart which shows that the hospitalizations through April 4th, 2020 for the influenza illnesses is leveling off and is only a little more than 1/2 of what the hospitalization rate was when compared to the 2017-2018 flu. As you know, we did not shut our country down in 2017 or 2018. I want to show you yet another chart. This will be the last chart, that shows that the percentage of visits to emergency rooms for influenza-like illness and C-19-like illnesses have dropped dramatically over the last few weeks. And yet, for the last few weeks, we have still been living in a near isolation situation. You know, the worst form of punishment in a prison is for a prisoner to be placed in solitary confinement. That punishment has a devastating effect on a person's physical and mental health. Yet we, the non-affected citizens, were ordered to quarantine along with those who were ill. Sadly, many of our citizens who were never infected with C-19 will never fully recover from this in the long run. And I want to point out another statistic. The number of suicides in Tennessee in 2017 was 1,163. I believe the number for 2020 will take our breath away. So with all of this said, I call on you, Mayor Cooper, to immediately cease this nonsense. I urge you to change your default position from government control and detention to one of freedom and personal responsibility, and stop this costly and deadly procedure that you have put in place, and allow us, the citizens of Nashville, to attempt to recover from this horrendous mistake. Thank you very much.